We go. All right, now we're recording. Okay, so it is March 15th, 2023. This is our, I don't know, fourth installation, something like that, of the full fee agent mastermind. And tonight's discussion is basically on chapter 3, no more free consulting. So let's get a quick round here. Todd and Ava, if you're there, if you've had any experiences with what we've been talking about previously, like last week, we're talking about tactical empathy, the cold read, labeling, what's been happening. So I'm finding myself using it in coaching quite often right now. Any experiences? I know, Laura, you just dove into the book, right?
I read all 3 chapters last night.
Okay. All right. This is, just so you know, this is based on, let me give you the background so you understand this. This is based on the thinking of the thinking behind this. Never split the difference with Chris Voss. And the purpose behind this group really simply is, with the way the market is changing, and how we keep on saying this is a skills-based market, which is now more true than ever. Doing things so that we sound different, look different, and appear different to the client helps to separate you from the competition. The other thing I love about this program is that I have been in the world of sales and commissions since, and it pains me to say this, I started my sales career in 1977. It's like, I feel really old, man. And I've spent the vast majority of my life in commission sales. All the tactics that are out there, all the closes that are out there, I've used them, memorized them, and taught them. And they're all antiquated. And the idea of having to memorize a script, so if a client says blah, 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 you say blah, 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 sign here, doesn't seem to work anymore and turns a whole lot of people off. Where tactical empathy, labeling as tactics, as guide rails to guide a conversation and show real empathy and understanding to the prospect, is more of a strategy, less of a memorization. And I think once it's internalized, once you get it, I believe it's actually easier to do from a tactical point of view, because you're not memorizing, if a client says this, I got to say that, and running with all these different scripts in your head. Mm-hmm. Todd, you've had the most experience with that. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah.
Once you get it?
Yeah. Once you get it. And it's just like we're going to talk about in this chapter. If you're putting yourself out there on value and you're trying to get compared with value with other agents, you become the commodity, and then they're just going to look at you for price, where they can get you for cheaper. Whereas if you come from the angle of trust, and they feel understood, then they feel taken care of, and they're ready to let you guide them on the guided discovery.
Right. Good. Guided discovery. I like that. Yeah. And there's an old saying. I remember, I'm going back into the archives now. Quality is remembered long after price is forgotten. And if they remember the experience that they had with you, they're more apt to work with you again, and certainly more apt to give you referrals.
And that's the whole last impression is the lasting impression.
That's it. And it's a relationships based concept, so if you're not into building relationships, this probably won't work for you in the long run, but it ties in so well with everything that KW stands for and the philosophies behind it. Hello, Ava. All right. So we're just getting rolling here. So, all right. So let's take a look at chapter 3. Let's dive into this sucker a little bit. I'll get my book ready out here for me. If we think about value and trust, how do they connect? How do they conflict? Which one is more important in today's market?
Trust.
Because
it's confusing right now. There's so many things happening, changing, that they would need to trust on somebody else, to lead them the right way.
Ava, you're great at building relationships. How much of your business comes in from referrals and clients?
From my database, 96%. Most of, yeah.
Yeah, it's relationships. And if, would it be fair to say that, I see that old habit, would it be fair? I'm going for the yes instead of the no. But I'm going to finish what I started. All right, Todd, don't yell at me, Todd. I know you're queuing up. You're queuing it up. Would it be fair to say that you wouldn't be getting 96% referrals if there was no trust?
Yes.
Okay.
Got the.
And to word that in Voss's language, would it be unreasonable to assume that trust is why you get so many referrals?
No. No.
Just a different way to ask the question, same answer. It's a hard habit to break, man.
It
really
is.
It
It
is.
is.
It's a hard habit to break. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's talk about trust and no more free consulting. Let's go big picture first. What did you guys get out of that chapter? The idea of no more free consulting.
Not to do listing presentations for people that probably weren't gonna list with you. Like not to pour 8 hours into prepping for a listing and without kind of feeling them out to see if they were really gonna use you.
Favorite of the fool, right, Laura? Yeah. Okay. So how does one go about doing that? How do you know? How do you find out?
And they had a list of questions and they're like, how did you hear about me? Or basically asking why they're calling you.
Mhm. Right. Is there genuine interest? Is there a conversation? Do you connect with them?
Mhm.
How are they answering the questions? If
Yeah.
yes, no.
Yeah, I mean, and they talked about like when you ask them like what price do you want, if they're evasive, then they're probably not looking to be in a relationship with you. They're just using you.
I don't know. You're the expert. You tell me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Combative versus collaborative.
Combative versus collaborative. Absolutely. Okay. And if you think back over your past experience, you think of the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. See, I'm ready to go. Have you found old habits? Oh, this is conversation. It seems pretty accurate, isn't it? That 20% of your clients give you 80% of your headaches anyway.
Mhm. Yes.
Sometimes 595, you know?
Mhm.
So
The halves.
the halves are the elves, right? Okay.
Hmm.
And the halves are
Halves are hard, annoying, lame, sometimes lucrative, and frustrating.
frustrating
And elves are easy, lucrative, and fun.
and fun. Easy, lucrative, and fun, right? And that's the connection. If they're going to be easy and lucrative and fun, there's trust, there's a relationship that's built there. Okay, good. Good. All right. What else did you get out of this? The big picture of chapter 3. No more free.
All right, can I dive in just to what Laura said in terms of,
Please,
you know,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
so finding out if there's a deal and if the deal's with you. So finding out, like, you know, what do you know about me, or why are we talking? So I was saying at the beginning of this before we started recording that I used my Zoom as a gatekeeper to do the 15-20 minute meeting, and without any commitment, I wasn't going to do anything further. But if you're ready to make a commitment, then we can talk about next steps or what that looks like. So we finished the Zoom, they did their interviewing, they decided to work with me. And when I met with them to do a full buyer consult this week, I said, you know, we're always trying to make our business stronger. And so if you wouldn't be opposed, would you mind sharing why you chose me, why you chose us? And they said that in that Zoom that I had said to them, it seems like you've done some research on me. And they said they hadn't, but after they hung up with me, they went and did research.
You did.
They saw all of my like Yelp reviews, and they're like, okay, he's the guy.
Good. So even walking that scary line of asking them questions, no, he didn't. This is where some people back off. It's like, well, why would I give them something to think about? If you're confident in your business, research me. Right? Laura dug into me before you came on as a client. That was so funny. I met her at family reunions. Yeah, I already researched you. Okay. I said, good, good. You know, I want you to. It's a lot easier to work with people that way. Yeah. Good. Ava, it looked like you were loading something up.
No, I was just wondering, Todd, when it was that part of your questions, like if they've looked you up or something? What did you say?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of the part of the proof of life to see if they're just talking to an agent or they're specifically wanting to talk to you. If they're specifically wanting to talk to you, then there's a likelihood you're the favorite and not the fool. And so I have questions that I ask, even if they're mislabels, like that one could have been, it was a mislabel. I didn't realize it was, but it was a mislabel. I thought that they would be kind of investigative before we met, but they weren't. And that was just one of my proof of life types of questions. Was it seems like you've done some research on me.
Okay, good.
How did you, good, Ava, good. Ask your
No,
question.
no, go ahead, because I was gonna just say something on page 65 that caught my attention, so I don't know.
Okay, let me ask Todd one more question. So this was a buyer consult.
Yep.
Right, okay.
This
How did
wasn't
you-
even the consult yet. This was the,
Yeah, how did you
I
set up
called
the
it,
Zoom? How did you set up
I
the
set
Zoom?
up, so I said, you know, in an email or text, I can't remember which, would you be opposed to a meet and greet Zoom for us to see if we have a basis for moving forward?
There it is. Perfect question. Would you be opposed to, as opposed to, would you agree to? Right? So, and then when they say no, they feel safer.
Or assuming as an assumptive, like, oh, so let's meet, well, they might not want to meet.
Right, right.
Right.
You know.
And they feel that's kind of the assumptive is kind of like the yes trap, where if they can say no, they feel like they have their autonomy and they can go either direction, and usually then they're open.
Right. That's, I think, one of the hardest things to unlearn in using this methodology is that we're so, and this is a repeat. I mean, we're so used to going for yes on everything. And still with me, with you guys, I have to think about how do I word the question for it to be a no. And I think with practice, it just starts to come out that way.
I still struggle with it too, but I've been doing it for a while, but I still struggle with it. And then I have to go into like the recesses of how was I supposed to do that? But it becomes more and more natural.
Right. So don't expect to master this thing in like in a week. It's not going to happen. It's going to be a little bit at a time. Take a couple of the tactics, play with them, get used to them, so they start to become more natural. I still have a sheet in front of me, Black Swan, no-oriented questions. So I can look at that and with the little headers. Would it be out of line? Would it be crazy? Would it be wrong? Are you totally against? Would it be impossible?
And mine are, what are they feeling? What loss are they imagining? And wait, which stands for why am I talking?
I love about the loss, right? I can't remember where in the chapters but that is key. The negative, right? Going to that negative, what are you going to lose? That's huge. I got that. Yeah.
Fear of loss is greater than the desire for gain. And that's, again, basic human psychology. And what I find fascinating, especially from this, because I listened to this again on the way out to family reunion. I was listening to the book. This is cross-cultural. This isn't just in the US. This is the amygdala. This is our brain. We're wired that way, that fear of loss is greater than the desire to gain. So when you can utilize that, not in a manipulative way, but to get the person to move forward, to work with you, cool.
I was thinking when Ava was saying, the assumptive close, the word close to me now in that context is like nails on a chalkboard. Like I just don't like the idea of close anymore. Same way, I don't know why Gary Keller says this too, calls people customers. Like I don't want customers, I want clients. They're clients. Yeah. So customer and close, I don't like it.
it's funny, because I'm in Miami, and when I've done our training here with the board, with the Miami Association of Realtors, we have to be careful because they're customers. We can't call them clients.
Really?
Yeah, in Miami. I mean, in Florida, I don't know if it's, I guess it's all Florida, because it's not, it's it's Miami Association of Realtors, so I don't know.
I
But
think, yeah, in Texas, they're customers until you have a representation agreement, and then they become clients.
Yeah, exactly. Same here too, but I don't want anybody to be a customer. And I just, if somebody is not willing to enter into agreement with me, if I'm still willing to work with them, I tell them, like, you're a customer. I have clients who have declared their loyalty to me because I'm going to get them to where they want to go. So if I have homes that come up that you might like, but clients would like them, I'm going to go to the clients first, and then you're going to get the end.
You
That's
get the
great.
Scraps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fear of loss there, loss of opportunity. Yeah.
Right? Scarcity, fear of loss. I think too, to the customer client concept, regardless of what the MLS says that you have to call them, I think what Todd's talking about is the concept. How do I see these people? These are clients. And just to throw out another one, why do we call them past clients?
Oh, mine are forever. They're
They're
tagged.
forever clients. They're clients.
Yeah.
Clients
had
that previously serviced, but they're still clients. They're not past clients. They're still clients. Why
Yeah.
label
They're
them?
still alive.
They're still alive. That's right.
We just actually got a listing from a forever client that bought this condo from us like 3 years ago. And now she wanted, well, a little bit more, so maybe like 4 years. And now she's like, okay, I'm done. Called us back, and we got it under contract. And from there, we actually got another listing yesterday signed for one condo down the hallway. They saw that we were there helping out with the, renovations, etc. And they reached out, and then on the elevator, same thing. Another person there goes, no, we want to move out of Miami. Are you involved with that people fixing the place over there? And we're like, yep.
Go Ava. Yeah, I'm
That's awesome.
excited for our call tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You're a
outstanding.
listing magnet.
She is.
I am magnet.
Ava's a warrior. She's a warrior. Absolutely. A warrior there. All right. I think one of the things I got out of this chapter that really struck me is that talking is value. Talking is fact and logic and reason, and listening is trust. Listening is connection and emotion. And I'm going to go big picture for a moment. Have you noticed that the majority of people that you come across are not very good listeners? And salespeople in particular are some of the worst. So how do you become a good listener? How do you learn to keep your mouth shut and keep your ears open and really be active listener? What are some of the keys to doing this? Because that is a key ingredient to building trust.
So asking questions, and more questions about the ones they just answered, and ask another question, right? So asking the question, for me, I have to take notes. So I'm gonna take out a piece of paper. I'm gonna jot everything down just so I can go back, and then I'll say, okay, so you said X, Y, and Z, whatever it was, so they can see that I was listening, right? That I just want clarification.
You do
And I
that
think-
when you're in person too, Ava? When you're in person and
Yeah.
face to face? Good.
Oh, yeah. Just also because I forget stuff. So I'm like, oh my God, wait, they told me their dog's name was what? Was it Maui? Was it Cowie? Like, I just met a Maui yesterday, so.
Yeah, I think it shows that you really care about them when you take notes, when you're writing it down. Okay. So taking notes is one really good thing. And listening. You mentioned asking questions. So some people will listen so they can gear up the next question. Others will listen so they can really understand. How do you do the latter?
Get to their side of the street.
Okay.
Yeah,
Give
that
me
was
some
great.
Tactics.
Yes, and from their perspective.
Mhm.
I think with the asking of the questions and not just tell me, the tell me more, which is also in this book, I saw, but getting clarification, right? So for example, we want a big yard, right? I've always been fascinated with that because I'm sure everywhere, but well, a big yard for me, I have a big yard. I mean, it might be, I want it now an acre or 2 acres, or is it a yard because I live in a townhouse with a little, slab of cement, and anything bigger than that is big,
Right.
So getting clarification on those things that, so tell me more, and what's important to you about having a big yard? Oh, well, my kids want a dog. Oh my God, that's great. What type of dog? I'm just,
Yeah.
you can,
Be curious and listen and ask intelligent questions.
So I feel like I'm good at listening and building trust on the buyer side. Like that comes easy to me. There was a line, I think it was in chapter 3, but there was a line in there about how agents hide in their listing presentation. Like they just tweak and tweak their listing and everybody's listing presentation is the same. And I do that. I feel like I'm guilty of that. And I've been thinking for a while that like I need to, like I talk too much in a listing presentation. I don't ask enough questions. And I'm still like, even after reading that chapter, I still don't know how to like me talk less and me build more rapport in a listing presentation. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Like I know I need to do it, but I don't know how.
The implementation is always the challenge.
For me, it is.
Oh, you just muted, Todd. Todd, you're on mute, buddy. Something happened.
You need the sign.
we
Lost your sound.
Not only on their side of the street, but like looking in the same direction. Like I had to visualize looking in the same direction as they are,
Right.
so that I could see what they're seeing. And that helps me with the questions. That helps me understand them so that they feel understood.
Okay. So you in your mind visually see yourself over there with your arm around them. We're on the same side, husband and wife. And
We're looking the same way. Yeah.
looking the same way, seeing the world. Okay. All right. Good.
have a question, and Laura, I don't know, for example, for me, my husband and I work together as a team. So when we go, either he knows the person, I know the person, or we know them both. So it's a little different, and it's just getting to ask him questions about what are their goals, they're just the time, when do they want to move, where are they moving to, whatever the case may be. Just maybe we know it already because we've been in communication with them, but we don't do a lot of like for sale by owners or expired listings. I would say that would be for me a little bit more intimidating, just because it's not a warm contact. Does that make sense? I don't know. So how do you guys do that, establishing that rapport and that trust?
Well, and that's like I do a fair amount of relocation. So I mean, a lot of times I walk in and I don't know them at all. It's like I'm walking in blind. I mean, I know what company they work for, and I know that they're moving in the next couple months. So I feel like I don't connect with them. I don't build a rapport, like a relationship trust with them. So then I put 8 hours of work in and I don't get the listing ultimately.
One thing and it all depends on who you're talking to, right? What type of personality they have. So we'll come with whatever the presentation is. It's like, we have things for you here. We're going to put this aside because I just want to get to know you a little bit better.
Right.
And then you can tell that they relax. They're like, oh, okay, because it's here. I'm going to go over it.
Mm-hmm.
But by we get to the presentation, we don't go over it. We just go straight into what are we going to price it at? When are we going to get the listing, etc. I don't need to, and this is something that I always tell my husband, because he's more of the talk. I mean, we both talk, so let me not. However, he just keeps talking, and I can tell the people in front of me, I'm like, they're done, they're ready.
Yeah.
So if you're ready to list, is this good? Everything works out. They're like, yeah. And I'm like, stop talking. Find the agreements.
That's a big part of active listening. Active is you're watching their body language, you're watching for shifts, you're watching their eyes. You're catching them if they do one of these. It could just be real fast, a little eye roll. It's time to be quiet. It's time to shift gears. Laura, what I would ask you is this: when you're with a buyer,
Mhm.
you're really comfortable asking questions.
Yes.
Okay.
What
What's
I
the
mean,
difference?
and I feel like I have longer time to, I mean, not necessarily like in a buyer consultation, but as you start going in houses, I mean, you start hearing, that's when conversations about like, oh, the entertainment center or grandma's dining room table come up, and you start figuring out what's important to them.
Okay. All right. What's the difference in your mind in how you view a listing and how you view a buyer?
I kind of I kind of had some awareness around that last night too. Like with a buyer, I'm less emotional. Like I feel like we're looking at houses already, like they're committed to me. Like I feel like I can, like it's truly about finding what works for them. And when I go into a listing appointment, it's in my head, it's about making them choose me. And I need to not be, I guess, as attached to the outcome.
Yes. Yep.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. That's the chasing, convincing, and closing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Plus, maybe you want to think about making kind of a two-step process. Maybe having the meet and greet, like Eva was suggesting, like getting to know them. Have kind of the meet and greet, kind of without doing all the research, without spending the 8 hours, to see if you can determine whether you're the favorite or the fool, and whether you need to be making any sort of additional time for them. And the time for them with pricing and so forth and seeing the home is after they've already made a commitment to work with you, because you've had that opportunity to meet each other, to see if the personalities align, to see if you feel like they can establish a trust with you, for you to dig in further. That's kind of this whole chapter about giving away the free consulting.
Mhm.
It was,
That could be done over Zoom.
right. So something I agree with you, because there was one time, I remember in this class that they were giving about the pre-listing presentation, right? The pre-qualification, right? Before you get there, the importance of all those questions. And one thing he says, I started asking all these questions when I went to a listing appointment, and the guy goes, oh my God, that's great. Yeah, we're thinking about selling next year. And it was like, at the beginning of the year so it's going to be like months away. So it wasn't going to be a listing for now. So he spent all, like Laura said, you spend all this time, you get all this preparation, and then we didn't ask, when are you looking to move? Or, when, oh no, it's going to be, in 2024. And
Right.
here you are at all this time. So those pre-listing questions are very important, just to know, is this a now business? Is this something that maybe we can start building that trust with that first Zoom, but we don't need to meet yet in person? And I don't know if that makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah.
My connection's been unstable, so I missed that last part, but I have a feeling you were saying that we don't, it's not ripe yet. It's not ripe for us to meet.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Figuring out if you're the favorite or the fool saves you the time to actually work with the people who want to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
And want to work with you now.
Yeah. And now, right. Then however, that also gives you an opportunity. If somebody raised their hand that I want to sell, that's there. They're either going to sell in 3 months or in 6 months or in a year, but you want to stay that connection. So what does that look like after you've discovered that they're not moving till next year? Well, you stay in touch with them. And at least for me, because how many times have we called somebody back and like, oh my God, my husband just got a new job and we needed to move. So sorry, we sold the house. And you're like, ah. So.
I think Zoom is, and how we've had to adopt it because of the pandemic. I think that was the kind of blessing in disguise.
I think so. I
because
totally agree with
we-
that. Yeah.
because like we're able to do this obviously, but like I've used the word gatekeeper, but that's how I treat it now. It's like before I'm investing time in anybody, if they're not willing to have a Zoom with me, then I create the last impression as the lasting impression. If you want to reach out again and you're ready, then great. And if not, I totally understand. But then I'm only spending the 15 or 20 minutes to determine whether it's an elf or not. And if they're an elf and they want to commit, then we get to work together. And now I'm going to adopt the forever client instead of the past client. But if not, then there's more business out there.
I think this whole thing, Todd, just to take it a step further, I think what has to happen first in everybody's mind is your self-perception of your worth when you're working, when you're with a client who is a client, not a shopper, when you're the favorite, what's your self-perception? Because if we get a lead and we're going out there talking, convincing, closing, chasing, versus taking the posture of, we're going to use Zoom as the gatekeeper. Let me see if I even want to work with you, is essentially what you're saying.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to work with me. Maybe I don't want to work with you. We need to have a match here because my time is valuable and I only work with elves. It takes a certain level of, actually, it takes a pretty high level of self-confidence and self-value to be able to posture yourself there. And I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think without that, it's not going to be as effective.
And I also think that, piggybacking on that is the one thing that's finite for us is our time. And if we're just giving it away when we could be working with people that want to work with us,
Yeah.
we're not developing that referral and repeat business that we all would like to have, so that we don't have to chase new business. We can, but we can depend on our forever clients to repeat and refer for us.
That's right. Value yourself highly, and you'll get people
And
who
your
value
time.
you as well.
Yeah.
George, and I think when you have that posture, is that the right word, but when you have that posture or that belief in yourself, right? That it just comes across. So
Yeah. It's hard. You can only fake that for a period of time.
they see it, and that's something that, yeah, and it's funny because when people is like, well, you do it for less, for example, and you're like, no, this is my, and for us at least, okay.
I forget what chapter it's in, but I guess it's probably the next one. Get the elephants out early. I'm a full fee, full service agent. I charge 6%. I don't answer the phone after 7 o'clock, and I don't work on Sundays. I mean, it was just, but the preface to it, you're probably going to think that this is a deal breaker. I'm going to tell you something that would probably irritate you. You might even think that I don't want to work with you. Whoa, what is it? I'm a full fee, full service agent. I charge 6%, boom, 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 boom. And you just lay out the parameters. Here it is. Do you qualify to work with me? Is almost the posturing. That takes some brass ones to pull that off. No doubt it takes some, we used to say in Philly, you clank when you walk with that one, it takes some, right? So yes, Todd, you heard that right. And it's been recorded, son of a gun. But that, if you do that once and they go, I like that, and they sign, second time is easier. And every time after that is easier and easier and easier. I got to just from totally outside of real estate. In my private practice, I still, to this day, I get somewhere between 3 and 6 inquiries per month of people that want to work with me in private practice. And my bandwidth is really, really limited. You got to really qualify for me to put you on my schedule right now, as busy as I am. And that's my response to people right now. It's like, here's what I need from you. They send me an email. Here's what I need from you. Tell me what the problem is. Tell me how you know it's a problem. Tell me what you want instead. By the way, here's my rates. You know how many people get back to me after that? Good. That takes me 1 minute. And where I used to engage back and forth, and then they'd ask me how much, then I'd find out, well, I don't have any money. No, well, sorry. No, I've been doing this too long to do it for free. Sorry, no.
One,
The ones who say yes, they're great clients and we get things done. I'm sorry, I forget.
no, I was gonna tell you, so I went to the Black Swan, the YouTube that they have. There's one lady and then they interview a realtor. I think she's in California. And
Regina Vanicola.
and she's like, first and foremost, I am a full service, full fee agent. I charge 6%, keep 3.5% and give 2.5% to the agents, blah,
That's
blah,
the
blah.
part I
right?
forgot. That's right. Yeah.
And I'm like, so I watched the video and literally the next day I'm reading this.
What page is that? What
one-
I've been looking.
It's
What is it?
tab because I read it at night.
I probably have it tabbed too, son of a gun.
And I was like, she did it verbatim.
Yep.
I was floored. I mean, I was like, oh my God, you know, and it sounded so natural.
Yep.
She's internalized that.
He's also the one that doesn't answer the phone after 7 and doesn't work weekends. Those are her standards.
That's your
She's like,
standards. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
What, I'm sorry, Ava, what page was it?
149.
149. I'm sure I have it bookmarked.
was it like a 40
Yes, I
minute
do. There it
YouTube,
is. Yeah.
Eva?
Sorry?
Was it like a 40-minute interview?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wa-
that's a good one. That's
Yeah,
a really good one.
yeah. And it's really, if we're really setting up a business that we want to also enjoy our life, you have to have those standards.
Got to set, yeah, standards equals boundaries. Yeah. Now let's just step out of this for a moment. Let's say you were the client. You were the person who was interviewing agents. And you meet this person and she sets it up the way she does because there's a lot of labeling ahead of that to set it up in the book, which I think is perfect. And you hear that from the client. I'm a full fee, full service agent. I charge 6%. I keep 3.5%. Boom, right on down. Would you or would you not want to work with that person?
I would probably not want to work with that person if I don't know her. That's the first thing she does.
No, it's not the first thing. You know, it's not the first thing she says. So this is after enough trust and rapport has been built.
Okay,
And
so if I
set
have
up.
no trust and
Let me
rapport,
change the question. Let me change the question. How do you view her level of confidence and professionalism?
up here.
And in the largest financial transaction that you have, do you want to work with somebody who you view less confident and less professional?
No, somebody super professional. Yeah.
Right. That's the part. That's just, here it is. Right. Do you qualify to work with me? This is probably going to scare you off. You might not even want it to, you know, all that stuff to set it up. And yeah, it's definitely not the first thing you do. You know.
By the way, I know that we're running almost 7:44, and you know, I'm a timekeeper. But no, I actually tried that, having to tell somebody something that I think was gonna probably upset them. And I said, you know, you're not gonna like what I'm gonna say to you. You're probably gonna think like I'm crazy, or so I set it all up and they're like, oh, that's it. It was funny.
There's the old joke about the cat on the roof that you guys probably all know. You know, where the people go away and they give the cat to their son or daughter or whatever. I think, yeah, they give the cat to their son and daughter, and they go away on vacation and they call and say, oh, by the way, the cat's dead. Well, why are you telling me this? Why are you telling me? You could have told me that the cat got out. The next day I called, you could have told me that the cat is down the street. Then you could have told me we've been looking, we can't find the cat. Then you could have told me, you could have stretched it, you could have set me up for the reality instead of just saying the cat's dead. Oh my God. Huh. By the way, how's mom? Mom's on the roof. Think about it. Right? So I know I blew the joke. I messed it up, but I think you get the idea. the whole purpose of setting it up ahead of time is so that they are anticipating something so bad. The anticipation is always going to be worse than the reality, you know? And that's the beauty of setting it up that way. So again, that's a skill base. That's something that we can all learn to do. What did you put in here, Todd? Is this the
The
So
interview,
interview?
yeah, for Laura, that's the interview.
yeah, watch it. It's really good.
Okay, thank you.
Whoops. Be quiet. Yeah, all right. All right. Stop. I just clicked on it and now he's talking.
Mhm.
So let me bring us back. Okay. Good. Yeah. This is a skill to practice. This is a skill. And again, Laura, for you and hell, for all of us, the more you can practice it in low risk environment, in skill and role playing with somebody or just out on the street or whatever, then it becomes easier to do it when there's money on the table. Okay. So let's all noodle on it, play with it.
Or
have some fun with it,
and coach others to do it. Like
and coach up. You
I
teach.
coached,
Yeah.
I coached my wife. She has a teacher's aide in her classroom who was not doing what she needed to do and what she agreed to do. So we went through the whole labeling and coming from curiosity, and she did it, and it came out exactly the way that she wanted it to. So that's a good way to practice too.
Well, didn't she devour the book when you got it? Hmm.
No,
Oh, it was,
Mm-mm.
I thought it was her. Okay. I'm
Mm.
got you mixed up. Okay.
It was my team leader that I gave it to.
Okay. All right. Got it. There. Sorry. All right. Cool. So let's all agree to put it into practice so we can all get better at it. Okay. Sound good? As always, folks, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you being here late in the evening on a Wednesday, especially
having my
Raven
glass.
out there. You already got your wine going. It's all good. It's after 5 o'clock, pretty much almost everywhere. All right. And Laura, thank you. And I'll
Thank
talk
you.
to everybody soon. If there's anything I could do, as always, reach out. And Todd and Ava, I'll be talking to you guys tomorrow.
All right, take
Okay.
care. Good night.
All right. Thanks, Fred.
Thank you.
See
Bye.
you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys.